I wasn't supposed to see the file. It wasn't logged in our system. No chain of custody, no initials, no transfer sheet. Just a manila envelope left on my desk with no postage and no return address. The tab read, Forensic Pathology, Restricted. Inside was a report, if you could call it that. It read like an autopsy, but stranger, colder. The subject wasn't listed by name, only as Homo sapiens neanderthalensis atavus. At first I thought it was a joke, some grad student's mock-up, but the further I read, the less funny it became. The vital signs alone gave me chills. Body temperature, 95.6 degrees Fahrenheit, constant, cold to the touch, even when alive. Heart rate, 42 beats per minute, resting, almost comatose. Spiked to 180 immediately after feeding. Respiration, shallow, slow, described as torpid. The description was clinical, detached, but between the lines I could feel the unease of the examiner. Someone had written in the margin in shaky pen, not human baseline, closer to hibernation. The next pages contained photographs, grainy, black and white. The body looked human enough, but wrong in subtle ways. Skin pale, almost translucent, veins visible like blue ropes under the surface. Eyes, large, dark, pupils dilated wide even under harsh overhead lights. Teeth. The canines were elongated, not cartoonishly so, but enough to look predatory, the kind of teeth that could shear through skin and muscle. There was a note about the hands and nails. The nail beds thickened, almost claw-like, the kind of hands you could imagine wrapping around a throat. The deeper I went into the report, the worse it got. The heart muscle was denser than human averages. The arteries narrow and constricted, blood flow pulled inward. The liver was oversized, packed with stored iron. The stomach enzymes were tuned to process blood and raw organ tissue more efficiently than cooked food. And then came the detail I can't forget. Traces of anticoagulant proteins were found in the saliva. That's why their victims bled out so easily. That's why the wounds never clotted. Blood work revealed wild fluctuations. When fed, the hemoglobin was elevated to almost superhuman levels. When deprived, it collapsed into severe anemia. The genetic report was redacted, but enough remained to terrify me. It spoke of archaic alleles expressed at abnormal penetrance. Not mutations, not deformities. Something old, something ancient rising again through bloodlines. And in handwriting, barely legible at the bottom, they're not throwbacks, they're survivors. This wasn't just biology, there were witness statements. One orderly said the subject could smell blood from across the room. Another claimed the subject's presence alone made him freeze, like prey caught in the dark. One technician refused to continue observations after catching the subject watching him too intently. The report called it predatory fixation. Feeding behavior was the worst. The subject refused all normal food, meat, bread, vegetables, all rejected. But when given a container of fresh blood, it drank until the vessel was dry. Afterward, the pulse spiked, the skin flushed, the eyes sharpened. The subject smiled, red staining its teeth. The final section was a disaster. It was as though the examiner was trying to stay clinical, but couldn't hold it together anymore. Infrared imaging showed the subject's body temperature was consistently 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit lower than humans. Post-mortem examination suggested delayed decay. Time of death estimates could be wrong by as much as 12 hours. Wounds healed at accelerated rates. Small incisions closed before suturing. One margin note read simply, "The cadaver isn't rotting, it's waiting." There was no signature, no initials, only a final page, blank except for a single line typed dead center. "Do not release to public archives." But there was one more thing. On the back cover, in handwriting so faint I almost missed it, someone had scrawled, "We thought they died out 40,000 years ago. We were wrong."